Check 1, 2. Hey guys, I'm getting set up right now. Let me know if the audio is good right now. I'm going to be back in 2 minutes, and we'll get started with this lesson on intervals. But if somebody could comment and just let me know if it's any good or not, that'd be awesome. I appreciate it. Both this and my keyboard here, just to see if both those are working. Anyway, if you're watching, please comment just so I know if it's working or not. All right, here we go. We are live on this lesson. Let's wait a minute for a couple of people to jump on. If you're watching, please do me a favor. And as people are joining for the live lesson, please go ahead and comment and like this, all that kind of stuff. If you're watching the replay, do the same. Please like this. Also, let me know if the audio is any good right now. Sometimes I don't really know. It's hard to kind of tell. Sometimes as you're setting these streams up. So that is very helpful to me. If you let me know, give me a yes, it's working or whatever the case is. So let's see here. Just making sure that the stream is going good. And we're going to be talking today about intervals. And this is a great lesson. Intervals are the type of thing that when you understand, a lot of things start to lock into place. Really, this is kind of like the last lesson before of like groundwork. Once this lesson's over, it opens up the doors to a lot of other discussions and really being able to understand music theory on a broader level, more than just a few, understanding what major minor chords are and the scales and that kind of thing. It starts to get to where the vocabulary that we've already established is deep enough. It's broad enough where everything doesn't have to be explained. You can kind of throw out a term and it's easy to explain. So, all right. Antonio says, hello from Houston. Hey bro, I'm from Houston also. Awesome. What area of Houston are you in? Let's see, your last name, Cavaccioni. Okay. Antonio, what part of Houston are you from? That's pretty cool. Or we may be neighbors. Who knows? All right. Give a couple more minutes and then we will log on here as usual. Also, Antonio, how's the audio? Is it good? Is it bad? Is it ugly? What is it? Also, hey guys, I got my studio kind of set up here, looking pretty good. I think, I like the lights in the back, and I'm going to add some more. I've got this whole thing happening. I've got the overhead cam right here. And I also have, this cam here on the side in case I want to pull out my guitar and do something with that. I can teach here with the guitar on the side. So that's pretty cool that all that's happening. So I've been working hard, this whole week on getting this ready, because I really want to be able to pump out videos just where they're real easy to make and real smooth. So, all right. Antonio says good audio, and that's it. We've got 4 watching right now. So hopefully there'll be some more joining us here as we get started, but let's just dive into this topic of intervals. Intervals are one of those things, like I was saying a second ago, that there's just a lot that are kind of assumed that we know, but a lot of times we don't really with intervals. So, as we have discussed in the past, we are familiar with the major scale, and whole, half, whole, half, all that kind of stuff happening. And we're going to talk about that just real quick, just so that we are all on the same page as far as that's concerned. But basically, it's a, if we have our keyboard here, right, I'll just pull it out. And the major scale formula is going to be a whole step, a whole step, a half step, a whole step, a whole step, a whole step, and a half step. So if we have these kind of jumps here, these actually are intervals. If we started here, like on the C right here, so if we started on C, we went up a whole step to D, whole step to E, a half step to F, a whole step to G, a whole step to A, whole step to B, and then a half step to C. Very, very easy. We got that. And then we can also take this major scale, whatever it is, and we can turn it into numbers. And so we can associate a number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 and or 1 here. And we're going to find out today in this lesson why I say 8 and or 1. And so let's use this example. I'm actually going to pull it up here on my my thing here. For those of you that don't know, I have a music theory course that I've been writing over the last I don't know, almost 10 years now. And this thing is about 100 and something pages, 150 pages. And I have just been working really, really hard on it. But it is in book form right now. And I really did it the wrong way. I probably should have just done the done lessons like this the whole time, but I got it all together, and it spent way more time than I really wanted to with doing the graphics and all that kind of thing. But I thought this would be a good opportunity to kind of show a little bit of the book, and also use some of the graphics in here. So on here you can see this start point right here. Imagine there's like a ruler or a measuring tape that's pulled here, and you're doing a long jump. So you're like jumping from one spot to the next. If you do like a long jump, or like the thing in the Olympics where they'll like run and then they'll jump and they'll measure the distance. That's essentially what's happening. So we have like, we have a start point right here, and then that person is running and he's jumping, and then he lands here, and then they'll measure it and they'll say, okay, that was 8 feet or whatever the case is. So the distance between these is that would be like an interval. That would be what we would be calling an interval. So what that looks like on the in music would be like, let's say your starting point is the C, and then you jumped up and you landed here. Okay, this would be, if you just count them up, you count the one you're on. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this would be a fifth interval. Okay, and that's pretty self-explanatory, pretty easy to understand. If you jumped 1, like you count the 1, so it'd be 1. This is a second interval, third interval, fourth interval, fifth, sixth, seventh, and then octave or 8 or 8 and or 1. So what comes, I'll write that out, and then we'll go in from there. So let's just look at this here. Let me write out a little keyboard, and I'm going to kind of do it like this. All right, so here is our keyboard, and I wrote out like a zillion of these when I was in college on the top of each test or whatever. All right, here we go. So we have our intervals. I'm going to use a different thing here. We have C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. All right, now these are what we call diatonic, okay? And diatonic basically just means the notes that are in the scale itself. They're in that key, they're in that scale. They're not any alterations as far as sharps or flats or anything like that is concerned. These are our diatonic, okay? I think it's D-I tonic. I think it's an A. Yeah, I think it's diatonic. Spelling is not my strongest suit here. Yeah, D-I-A-T-O-N-I-C. Diatonic. And so that's what these are, the notes that are in the scale. notes in the scale, the major scale. Okay, so these diatonic notes, these are very easy to understand. These are very easy to see, because if we have right here, if we start on C and I jumped up right here to this, I'm going to put here these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and or 1. This would be a second interval. Okay. Then if I jumped up to here, this would be a third. We just did this. Jumped up to here, this would be a fourth. Jumped up to here, this would be a fifth. Bear with me, it's going to get a little more complicated in a second. This is the sixth, the seventh, and then finally I'm going to call this the octave, the eighth. Okay, now here's the deal with this. If they're in their diatonic, this is very, very easy. These three right here, so our second, these guys right here, these are going to be major. We're going to write M-A-J right there. And then these guys are going to be major. Okay. And then these guys here, let's use a different color. The 4 and the 5 are going to be perfect, P-E-R. And then also the 8 is perfect. So what that means is this is a major second, a major third, a perfect fourth, a perfect fifth, a major sixth, a major seventh, and a perfect octave. Okay. Now, that sounds like, why are we even calling it that? What's the point? It doesn't even make any sense to do that. Here's the reason why. Because if we have any alterations to this, what will they be? What will they look like? Okay. So we're going to see what these are going to be like, not hitting the ones that are diatonic. Okay. So we have these here, all of these, I'm going to write these out here. So this is going to be a, I'm going to put an M here, major second, a major third, a perfect fourth, that's a P, a perfect fifth, a major sixth, a major seventh, and then a perfect octave. Okay. Now let's go up and let's imagine, instead of us hitting on the diatonic notes, we're taking jumps to the non-diatonic notes. Okay. So here, let me just write these numbers here so it's easy to kind of get 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and or 1. So let's look here. Now imagine we're going to take our C to this note right here, which is going to be our D flat. Okay. So we're jumping up. Okay. We're just going up a half step. This is a minor second. Okay. So these here, I'm going to write these out a little bit better. These are big M's here. Okay. And these are little M's here. To jump up to this one right here is going to be a minor third. Okay. And this would be E flat. Going up here, there is not anything in between the third and the fourth. So actually, there's no alterations there. We'll land on this guy, the G flat. This is going to be a diminished, all right, dim, just so it's easy to understand, diminished fifth. Okay, if we go up again to this one, this is going to be a minor sixth. Again, here to the minor seventh. And then finally, there is nothing in between those two. So that's it. So that doesn't look the best, but basically that's what we got here. So this is the A flat, the B flat. Okay. And then I'll jump over here to the keyboard. It's going to make a little bit more sense. So the diatonic notes, those are no big deal. Those are kind of easy. They're within the scale. All you have to do is you have to just think of them. If you memorize that the second and the third and the sixth and the seventh are going to be majors, and then the fourth, fifth, and octave are perfect. Okay. And then the only ones that have an alteration are going to be ones that are major or perfect, obviously. So if you're flatting it, if you're going half step down, it's going to turn the major into minor. And if you're on a perfect and you go a half step down, it's going to turn it into a diminished. Okay. So there's really only one here is the diminished fifth right there. So hopefully that kind of makes sense. So let's look at it in another key and then we will talk about how this is practically working here. Actually, let's just do this here on the keyboard so it's easy to see. Same key here, same one we got. So let me just write on here. Here's our numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and or 1. So our jump from here, let's see, we'll just go right up. Major second, major third, perfect fourth, perfect fifth, major sixth, major seventh, perfect octave. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. Now we're going to go half step lower on all of these. And mind you, we are going half step lower. We're not going a half step higher. Okay, so on all of these, the alterations are flatted notes. What do I mean by that? I mean, like from here, let's take the minor third here, the E flat. This is going to be a minor third. It's not an augmented second. Okay, I guess technically you might be able to call it that, but we're not going to call it that. It is a flatted third, minor third. So here, this note here, this is not like a sharp fourth. This is a flatted fifth in this context. What we're talking about as far as these intervals are concerned. So that's what also is known as our tritone. And then again, the sixth is major. This is going to be a minor sixth. Here's our major seventh and our minor seventh. Okay, and then our perfect octave. So there's no such thing as a diminished octave because it's already a major seventh. Hopefully that makes sense to you. Any questions? Let me know. Let's do another key just so it's real easy to understand and real easy to get. Let's just not even write it out on this. Let's write it kind of halfway. So let's go down here. So let's do the key of D here. So if we have our notes here are going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and or 1. It's going to be D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, and D. That is our major scale. So this is like the D major scale. Okay. So if we look at here, I'm not going to be able to write on the black, but if we had 1, 2, or 3 is right here. I need to get some Sharpie that'll work on black. 4, 5, 6, or 7 is right here, and our 8 and our 1. So again, major second, major third, perfect fourth, perfect fifth, major sixth, major seventh, perfect octave. Does that make sense? Okay, very, very easy. So then let's do the other side of that. So we have our minor second, our minor third, there's nothing in between these two notes. So we're going to go to our diminished fifth, our minor sixth, our flat 7, so our minor 7, and then finally our octave. Okay, very good. Any questions on that? I think we're pretty good. Now let's do one more example, and we will talk about how this even applies in the real world of music theory and why you would even need to know any of this stuff. All right, so let's do the key of, let's do a flat key. So let's do E flat. So if we had, let's see. Let's see, B, E, A. All right, so B flat or E flat is going to be, here's our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and our 1. Again, I'm going to write this out. We're going to have a major second, or a minor second, a major third or a minor third. We only have the option of a perfect fourth. We can have a perfect fifth or a diminished fifth. We can have a major sixth or a minor sixth. We can have a major seventh, or we can have a minor seventh, and we can have a perfect octave, which sometimes I write like that. Okay, does that make sense? So let's pull this out. We'll go to E flat. This is going to be a little bit harder, but let's see. E flat to F, major second. E flat to F flat, again, because we are using we're always going to use the letter names. You're not going to have two letter names that are the same letter name in an interval. Okay. Trying to think of a scenario in which you would. I don't think that would be the case. So we're always going to use not the letter name. We're flatting. We're going flat. So we have E flat. Here's our F for the major second, minor second, F flat. Okay. Our third is G, major third, minor third, G flat, perfect fourth. I'm sorry. Perfect fourth, A flat. Okay. And then there is no diminished fourth. Our perfect fifth, B flat. Our diminished fifth, B flat flat. Our major sixth, our minor sixth, our major seventh, our minor seventh. Wait, no. Yeah. So does that make sense? Should make sense there. Now, couple reasons why this is going to come into play. So let's spell a couple chords that the biggest way that this comes into play is in chords. That's where a lot of this terminology, I think, makes a lot of sense. Excuse me, I've got the AC off so it doesn't get all noisy. I'm getting sweaty. Drink some hot tea too. Okay. Hey, Antonio, you say that on the keyboard makes more sense than on the guitar. Yes. And I'll pull out the guitar here in a second and kind of explain this too, but you're right. And let me know what you guys think about this too, because I've considered taking a guitar and putting like letter names on all of these, like all the frets, or at least on all the naturals. That way the whole fretboard would be a little bit easier to see. And then you'd be able to, if I said, hey, this is a C, it would have like a letter name C underneath it. It might be a little bit easier to kind of figure out on the guitar. I don't know if that's a good idea or not. Okay, so let's look at this. Going back to the key of C, if we have a C chord, which again is our C, let's just spell a bunch of chords with the C scale. Okay, so we all understand where we're at here. 2, 3, 4, 5. Geez, come on. 6, 7, and our octave. Matter of fact, I'm going to just write this out. Major. Oh, actually, the one's not anything. Perfect. Actually, it's a perfect one, I think. Major, perfect fourth, perfect fifth, major, perfect octave. Okay. So we're imagining these are all jumping here. So if we have a regular C major chord, which is going to be, so our C chord is equal to our 1, our 3, and our 5. And if you missed the last lessons, the 1, 3, 5 are the implied notes. Every chord basically has 1, 3, 5 in it. So we have 1, 3, 5, and then if I said instead of this, we're going to play a C second note. We're going to play 1, our 3, and our 5 as normal. But then we're going to add in our second here, and it's going to be a major second. Okay, so it's just adding the note basically in there. Now, if we said C minor, well, and it's not 1, 3, 5, it's 1 flat 3, 5, which is actually a minor third. Okay, so this is like a minor third here. You guys follow that? That's why it's called C minor, because it's a minor third. The third is determining what makes that a major or a minor. So there you go. Let's do this. Let's say like a C6 chord. So we have 1, 3, 5, and then we're just adding in our sixth. And this is again our major sixth. And then here's one that this is really where this is helpful to understand intervals, and that is with the 7 chord. So if we have C7, they do this thing. Actually, I'm gonna change this right now. So if we have C minor. So C minor is equal to our 1, our flat 3, and our 5. Okay. So it's saying again, this is our minor third here, right? Now, what if I want to say, I want to play that chord and I want to play this note right here. Okay. Now, how would I do that? So if I write out, or let's say that actually, let's do this. Let's say a C minor, and I want to play the, I'm sorry, I put the octave. I want to add that 7 in there. Well, it's going to be kind of hard to do that. I could write out C minor 7, and that would work. We'd have the flat 3, 5, and the 7. It would be awesome. This is great. So if you want to add the 7 to that chord, you just say minor 7. Now, here's the thing. What if I wanted to play a C chord with the 1, 3, and the 5? This is a major third here. And I wanted to not play this note with it, but I wanted to play the minor 7 right here. Okay. All right. We'll just write out, C chord, and then write a minor 7 on there. Okay. Well, ooh, do we see the problem there? These look the exact same, the way it's written out, C minor 7. So this right here, you don't know what that minor is applying to. Is the minor applying to the chord, or is it applying to the 7th note? And that's where the confusion comes in. So some genius, I have no idea who, said, you know what we're going to do? Just for simplicity's sake, the 7 note, okay, the 7 is equal to the flat 7 or the minor 7, okay? Now, the reason why that makes sense, now watch this. So if I said I want to play these chords, the flat 7, okay, and I know that this equals a flat 7, I can just write out this was C7, and I can do 1, 3, 5, flat 7, and I know that now. Now, what if I wanted to say, okay, let's play a C minor with a minor 7, okay? So I'd have a C minor 7. Again, 7 means flat 7. So I'd have, okay, so we now are spelling it out. We have 1, flat 3, 5, flat 7, just like that. So we now know that the M, because it's implied that the 7 means minor 7, we can play a C minor. We know that this M here, the minor, is applying to the C itself. It's nothing's trying to trick us up in that. So otherwise, the only other option would be to write out C minor, minor 7. And that just gets confusing. So they didn't want to do that. So this is really, really important to realize that 7 is equal to a flat 7 or minor 7, depending on how you want to use the terminology. Okay. So let's do another example of that with the 7 chords. So if I wanted to, I'm going to do all the 7s here. So if I wanted to say, let's play a C, but I want to play the major 7 here. Okay. Well, if I wrote out, so how do I indicate that? If I write out C, well, since normally you don't write out like for a C chord, which is 1, 3, the 5, a major chord, normally you don't write out major next to it. It's implied. So you know that that C, when you just see a C chord, it's just the diatonic 1, 3, 5. So when you say C major 7, like that, you know that the major is not applying to the C, but you know it's applying to the 7. So this would add the diatonic 7, which is just going to be, there's no alterations. So the major 7 is basically, these are all diatonic notes. They're in the scale. Okay. Now, what if I wanted to say, I want to play a C minor and add that in there? Not super normal chord that you see a lot, but you can do it. You would do C minor, which we know that the minor is going to apply to the chord. And then we have major 7. Literally, this is how it's written out. You'd have 1, flat 3, 5, 7. So that's the C minor major 7. Sometimes you'll see it written out like this. There's probably more different ways that you'll have it, you'll see it written out. But that would be how that would work. Okay, I think there's one more 7 that I'm forgetting here. Let's see. Okay, so let's maybe not. I'll probably find it here in a second. So hopefully this is helpful to you. But let's do a couple more. Let's do 6 notes. So if I said, okay, we're gonna play. This is where these kind of get kind of tricky here. So if we had, let's say a C6 chord, this is easy. So we have our 1, our 3, our 5, and our 6. Okay. So these notes here, C, E, G, and A. Okay. Now, what if you could, this is not really written out, so you're not going to see C minor 6. Okay. Again, what is the minor applying to? Is it applying to the chord, or is it applying to that? So when you see minor, it's not going to be applying to the note. When you see minor, it's applying to the chord. Okay. It's important to understand. So when you see, if you wanted to play these notes, this is one where it's kind of counterintuitive. This note right here, the minor 6th, this is where the enharmonic. So if we have here's our little mini keyboard right here. So we have our G right here and our A. And then right here, this is this note right here is a G sharp and also an A flat. Okay. This is one of the rare times that we are going to refer to things by a sharp instead of a flat with this. And so if I wanted to play these notes, which is not played much except for maybe in jazz, it would be, so you would call that like a C. Well, you would probably have to call that C 5 / sharp 5, something on those lines, or you could something like that. However, well, actually, you could probably just call it C sharp 5. That would probably work because that indicates the C, and you're sharping the 5 there. But usually, you're not going to see just that. You'll see a couple other additions to it as well. Like you'll see a C and a sharp 2, but you wouldn't voice it that way. Anyway, we're getting a little ahead of ourselves, but that would be, usually you're not playing the 5th, you're playing just that right there, the sharp 5, which is as we learned last week, a C augmented chord. So the augmented 5th and the minor 6 is the same thing. Okay, so this would be the 1, 3, and the sharp 5, as we learned last week. All right, let's do a couple more examples in the key of C, and then maybe we'll throw in some more keys here just to be safe, so we fully understand. So again, there's nothing in between these two, so there's not going to be any alterations here. what happens when you see, well, usually you're going to see something like, trying to think. Let's do a couple chords that are, I'm trying to determine whether I want to teach this or not. This is for free. This is like a little, maybe a little peek into the future of, future lessons here, but this is the, let me make sure I'm not leaving something out. I'm going through my thing here. Okay. Now we'll do this. So we have here, what happens when we see a chord like this? C9. What in the world does that mean? Okay. Any note that is over a 7, so any number that's over a 7, it is implied that the 7 is there. Okay. So it's implied there is a 7 there. So this is what I mean by that. So a C9, well, we don't have 9 here. Okay. We only have 7 in our octave here, but let's just keep on writing. Here's our 8, here's our 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. Okay. So imagine that whole thing is going out. So this is what this basically means. Well, you might think, well, okay, a C9 just means play a C chord and add the 9. Well, let's do that. So if we have our 1, our 3, and our 5, and our 9, yeah, what note is this? The D. Also right here is a D. So isn't that the same thing as writing C second? Yes, it is. So we know that that's not correct. So what does that mean? Again, the 7 is implied. And again, remember 7 equals flat 7. Okay. So here's our 9 and our flat 7. So literally this means, so our chord is our 7, or flat 7, and we're adding in the 2. Now look at this. You could write it this way. Okay. 2 plus 7 equals 9. So that's how you get, anytime there's a number over a 7, that's what that's meaning. It's implying that there is a 7. So it's like, algebra. What plus 7 equals that number? When I figured this out, that changed everything. Everything made so much more sense as I was playing it. First of all, well, I'll get to I'll just say now, practically speaking, as you're playing a chord, and especially as you're learning, you're thinking, oh man, I all these notes and all these things, I'm playing, I had to play 5 notes to play a 9 chord. How do I get through this really quick? Well, if it's implied, if the 7 is always implied, and the 9 is just adding an additional 2 to the chord, then if you play just the 7, you're not going to conflict with the chord. You're just not adding that extra note. So let me break it down a little bit even further. So like if I said, let's just say you were in you're really rudimentary, and someone said, play a, C minor chord, and you thought, okay, I don't know what third to play. If you just played the 1 and the 5, if you just played these, you would be fine. You're not going to conflict with the rest of the band if you're playing that. So you're like, oh, I don't know which note to put in the middle. You could do that. Then as you get better, you kind of realize, oh, the minor's there, the minor third. Now, the same thing applies to the 7 chords and the 9 chords. So if I said, all right, I know where the 7 is at, but the 7 here, but I don't know where the 2, I can't think of that, so however you would voice that. And this keyboard, I'm not voicing the way I would actually play it, but let's, so this, that would be all crammed together. It doesn't sound good. Let's fix it up a little bit. If I think, okay, I don't know where the second is, then other octave, just don't play it. Just play these, and it's not going to conflict. And so you're golden that way. Okay, let's dive into one more, or maybe a couple more here. So what about this? Let's go there. And again, this is free. We'll go into this more in another lesson, but I'm just kind of giving this to you pretty quickly here as we're going through intervals. Okay, so let's say we see a chord that looks something like this, C13. All right, you should be able to do, well, let's do that. Actually, let's do this, C11. You should be able to recognize and figure this out just applying what we did in the past. Okay, so again, what is the implied note? The implied note is the 7, because it's over a 7 here. This number is bigger than a 7, so the implied note is a 7. So we know we're going to have a flat 7 in there. So 1, 3, 5, flat 7, and then what plus 7 it equals 11? Well, it's 4. Okay, so we know we're going to add a 4 in there too. Now, voicing doesn't sound good at all. That makes sense to me. Okay, now, I mean, that would be the note. And again, you could also think of it as looking into the next octave, but it's a lot easier to think of it in terms of the 4 rather than thinking of it as an 11. In my opinion, I may be wrong on that, and your brain may think a little bit different, but hopefully that makes sense. Now, what about this? What if we had a C 13 note? Well, same thing. We've got 1, 3, 5, flat 7, and then what plus 7 equals 13? 6 does. So our chord or we could voice that completely different. Let's come up with a voicing that actually is maybe a little bit better. Okay, so there you go. So all we're adding is we're adding the 6th in there too. Again, not the voicing that I would play. I mean, you could technically, that they're too close together to make any sense for your ears to hear. Frequencies are too close. So that's how those numbers are added to it. And Terence just says, I'm learning chord structure, Kennis. Terence plays at my church with us. So very good, Terence. Terence is a great keyboard player. But he sometimes doesn't know what notes he's playing and how it all figures out. So thanks for watching, man. You're gonna get this soon. So the one that is so a couple pretty here too that you'll see. Let's see, we should probably just end the stream. Yeah, I think this has been a pretty good lesson, but I'll give you one more that you'll see sometimes if you're in jazz, and that is a chord that'll look like this. See, 6/9. What this slash means is the 7 is not implied. Okay, so you'd have 1, 3, 5, 6, and 2. You can put the 2 here, but the 9 is the 2. So 1. Okay, so it's saying this because the slash is there, you're not going to play that. Technically, as far as music theory is concerned, you could also think of these in terms of stacked thirds. This is not how I think of them, but it is a way to think of them. So I'm going to do it this way here. There we go. All right, I'm going to write out all the thirds here. We have 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13. You could think of this if you see like a C. This is actually, I'm going to write a little arrow here. This is going to be a flat 7. If we have like a C chord, again, we have the 1, 3, and 5. If we have a C7 chord, we have 1, 3, 5, flat 7. If we have a C9 chord, we have the 1, 3, 5, flat 7, and the 2, okay, or the 9. And on the 11 chord, technically, look at these as thirds here. Technically, an 11 chord has the 9 in there too. technically a 13 chord, has all of these notes in there. Now, here's the thing. So I'll write that out. So the 11 chord, 1, 3, 5, flat 7, the 9, and the 11, and then finally the 13 chord, 1, 3, 5, flat 7, the 9, the 11, and the 13. Now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's every note in the scale you're playing on that. Really and truly, if you see a 13 note, you basically you can't hit a wrong note as long as you're playing. You hit the flat 7, and the rest is diatonic. But the thing is, this gets so jumbled up. That's why I say, don't worry about just use the last number, okay, that you're looking at, where you do like the on a 13. What plus 7 equals 13, and just don't play these guys. Okay. What plus 11 equals, what plus 7 equals 11. It's the 4. Don't play the 2. Okay. Now the 9 you don't have to worry about. And again, too, all of these are implied notes. Okay. So as you're playing, feel free to drop out notes. Okay. If you're playing with a band, you don't have to play the 1. This can get dropped, especially if you're playing, bigger chords. You don't have to play the 1. So if you're playing a C9 chord and you're a keyboard player and you're kind of like right here in the pocket, you don't have to hit that. You could just play, because the bass players are going. So your chord here, you're playing your notes up top. You don't have to hit that. The 5 is implied. Okay. So you don't have to play the 5. If you wanted to play this, where's the 4? Nope. Let me play it up here. It doesn't sound good either. That kind of thing. You don't have to hit every single note in there as you're playing. So feel free to change all of that up. Just because you can play a note doesn't mean you have to play a note, especially the more that you are playing with other people. But honestly, even not even that, your ears are amazing. The way that we process information, they literally will hear notes that are not there. If I play I don't know, if I'm playing a chord, you're hearing that major third there. You're hearing this, that third. I'm just playing basic chords there. Let me do it again, and then I'll play the minor, and I'll prove it to you. Listen to it. You're not hearing this note. Okay, you didn't hear that. It didn't go, or nope, not one of you. That third is where your ear knew it was going to go. So it doesn't even have to be there if you're playing a chord. If you had more advanced chords, you don't even have to play that in there. So hopefully this was helpful to you. I didn't really get a chance to do too much in here as far as other ones, but I think that in the key of C is the easiest to look at, the easiest to figure out. I really encourage you to figure this out on your own. Figure this out on using different using these intervals this way to figure out chords. Okay, so I'll give you a little bit of homework here. So let's just say, for example, if you wanted to write this down, you can. Basic blues pattern, which is like a 12-bar blues. Let's just we could do it in the key of C, but it doesn't matter what key it is. Your 1. Well, I'm gonna. I'll write it out like this. So we have our 1, 2 measures of 1. I'm sorry. My bad. 4 measures of 1. What am I doing? So our 1 chord, which would be C. Our 4 chord, which would be F. Back to our 1 chord. And then our 5 chord. Our 4 chord. Our 1 chord. And our 5 chord. Let's just do that as a chord progression. Now, what this would look like in your, if you're doing this, you would have like C, 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 F, F, C, C, G, F, C, G. You guys following that? So these are like our actual chords that we'd be playing. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is write this out and do it in a few different keys and figure out what these notes are in these chords, but I'm not going to leave it so easy like this. Let's add some stuff to this. So let's say 1, and then we'll play 9 chords here. Okay. And our 4 chords, let's just play 7s. And then let's play 7s here. Okay. Let's do a 9 and a 9 and a 7. And let's do this. Let's do a sharp 5, sharp 9. Okay, so what that would look like in practicality here, depending on what key you're in, let's do the key of G. So if we had G, write it in different colors. So this would be, so all these are going to be G, 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 G9, G9. We C7, C7, G7, G7, and then we have our D9, our C9, our G9, and then our D right here, sharp 5, sharp 9. So since I have this chord thing here, so that would be like, pull this up, we can see a little bit too. So we have our G chord, so our 9, again, if I'm playing the 9 here, maybe I'm playing and I don't really, oh shoot, I don't know how to play a G9. Okay, well, you can now figure out what that second note is. You know what the G7 is. So here's your G7. Well, figure it out. 1, 2. Okay, well, there you go. You're just playing your C major scale if you got that figured out. So our 2 is an A. That'd be good voicing right there. A. So, okay. Now, again, you don't have to play every single note on here. 6 is a lot. So you might even just kind of go. To the C or to the 4, which head is the 7. Back to the 1, 7. Or D or 5, 9. 4, 9. And then our 1, 7. And our 5, sharp 9. Oh man, how do I play that? Well, we're gonna have that note in there. F somewhere. So right here. So I know, okay, here's my 7 or my 9 chord. So that second needs to be there. Now I need to get the sharp 5 in there. So right there, we got the A sharp. So as as you're playing that, anyway, do that in like a bunch of keys, and then now you know how to play all of those things. If you're playing, Trent wants you to play on the keyboard. I'm not really a great keyboard player, so we'll see what I can do here. So here you go, Trent. I'll do my best. Let me widen this out a little bit so I can get a little bit more keys on here. So if in the key of G, I would voice these perhaps. Here's our G chord. Here's our G7. Okay, so I'm taking, this is the 7th note. Flat 7. Here's our flat 7 right here. Okay, let me write these out. So we have 1. Well, I'm going to change chords here. Anyway, here's our 1. So I mean, I'm not the best keyboard player by any means, but this is how I might conceptualize this. Again, we're playing a 9 chord, so I need to add a second in there somewhere. So I'm not going to add it down here. A little key for voicing is don't put in, the lower you go, don't put the notes close to each other. And you know what? I'm going to get this. I think I have a way to raise this up an octave. There we go. A little bit better. So I would add maybe the second here if I was going to do that, and I might not even play the third in there, or I might not even play the fifth in there. I might do a bunch of stuff there, maybe, or I'll add the 7 up here somewhere. Oh wait, the second here. How would I do that? That might be a good voicing there. So here I have our 3, 5, 7 there. So that might be the voicing there. Again, that kind of goes, look how these are stacked thirds. Okay, so there would be my 9 there for the 1. Now the C, the 9 here. I might do something like that doesn't sound great. The 9. Yeah, I might even just do this. Not even hitting the third. It's implied. Someone else is going to hit it anyway. It's too muddy. And then back to our G7. We could do that. Yeah. Okay, and then our D here, our 5. So 1, 3, 5, 7, and our 9. So I might voice it. Nope. Nope. Something like that. You got to figure that out on your own, on how you want to voice that. You might do the 9 here, the second, and then the 7 up here. That's kind of a cool voice. Okay, and then our G, we already did the G7, and then the D, sharp 5, sharp 9. Okay, now the sharp 5 is an alteration. Okay, so we don't have to hit the 5 in this. It's saying to sharp the 5 here. So here's our normal one. We're going to sharp the 5. Okay, and then our 7, which is still implied. Then our sharp 2 right there, and this one, these are both in there, the sharp 2 and the third. Let's see, how would I voice this? Well, that would be down here, but let's do the sharp 2, our 5. No, I'd probably put it up at the top. Sorry. Sharp 2. Sharp 5. Yeah. Sorry guys. Like I said. Is that right? There's no third in there. Needs to be a third in there to get the full effect on that. Did I do that right? No. There's my sharp 5. Sorry. I was thinking the key of C over here. That's why my brain's messed up. Sorry. So the sharp 2 and the sharp 5 and the 7. Yeah. And I may not even might not even play the 5 here, or might not even play the 1. But if I wanted to play the third, I don't know how I would do this. Honestly, I don't. Probably something like that. I'll let the bass player take care of the D. Anyway, keyboards on. Okay. So anyway, hopefully that was helpful to you, Terence. Put me on the spot trying to figure stuff out on the keyboard. which I'm not good at. I'm okay at spelling things out and figuring it out, but if I had to play it like if I, just given music to play it, I would be playing 7 notes. Okay, I'd be playing 7s, and on this, I probably would just play the sharp 5. I wouldn't even worry about the sharp 9. I would just, or the sharp 2nd. I would just play that. So I might, if I was playing this, jamming it out, because my monkey brain didn't do very well with this, I'd be just. Just make sure you hit the sharp 5. All right. Very good. Guys, thanks for watching. You got any questions? Let me know. I'm going to give it about a minute. If you have a question, you can write it in there. If not, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week. We'll give a second just in case. Let's see. DZek says, "This is dope, man." Awesome. Thanks. He's got one of these things, the okay signs as well. Lillian Reed says, "Making sense." Awesome. YouTube account says, "Keyboards on and watching afternoon all." Okay. Always went to keyboard before guitar. Yep. Yeah, I think so. All right. Terence is saying, "I understand the concept." Very good. Glad you're able to understand it. I need to get you my book. Terence is one of my friends here. And so hopefully he'll be able to, I need to get you the book. I'm going to release it to everybody soon, but I need to give you like a PDF copy of it. YouTube account says, "Thank you." Antonio, awesome. He says, "Thanks for the lesson. Appreciate it." Also, earlier you said you're near Beltway 8 and 10 at Spring Branch. Awesome. You said you were in Houston, so I'm in the Houston area too, all the way out northwest Houston, in Cypress, right where the 99 is at, 290 and 99. So I'm like as far northwest as you can still call Houston. One time on a video, I said I was in Houston, and then someone said something like, "What part of Houston are you in?" I said I'm in Cypress, and then they got on to me and said, "That's not even part of Houston." Like, well, I'm sorry. I don't count out here in in Northwest Houston. But all right, Trent says, "Please do." And all right, without further ado, guys, thanks for watching. Do me a favor, like this video. Please like this video. And I'm trying to get as many people to watch these as possible. I know they've been helpful from the feedback I've gotten, but I'm trying to figure out how to get an algorithm to go into the YouTube world. So, but nothing I can do about it. So thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in another video next Monday night for the Monday music theory lessons. Thanks. Adios.